This is Tom Rust for TRSB Sports Podcast today. Delighted to be joined by Simon from Fit to Box. Simon, how you doing, mate?
I'm great, absolutely great.
Yeah, listen, mate, we really appreciate you coming on. As you know, up until this point, we've predominantly spoken to professional boxers, coaches, and so on. Everyone has their own story. We had a good conversation last week on the phone, and equally you have as well. Just looking at your YouTube channel earlier as well, impressive stuff. Over 20,000 subscribers. I think you're nearly on. Is it 6 million views as well?
Yeah, nearly there. So I've been on like 6 years now, and the channel is to help people to buy better boxing equipment, and that is basically why I do it.
Yeah, no, it's incredible what you're doing. How did it all get started for you?
I worked in a bank. I worked in a bank for like 25 years, and about a year before I left the bank, I got quite a large balance on a credit card, and I'd got some really nice boxing gloves that I wasn't particularly using, and I thought, well, I'm going to sell them, but I wanted a record of those boxing gloves before I sold them. And so one holiday, when I was on holiday from the bank, I recorded a few videos. There was about 4 or 5 videos, which were basically for myself. They were not for anywhere else. They weren't for YouTube. They were just literally for me. And I recorded them, and I didn't show them off my head at the time because it was just all focused on the gloves. And they stayed on an iPad for probably 12 months. And then when I left the bank, I was very fortunate to get voluntary redundancy after 25 years. And I left the bank, and I just decided I was going to put them on YouTube. It was a bit of a sort of a whim thing. I didn't really think it through. I just thought, well, I've got them, I'll put them on. And then people started to like them and asked me to do more videos. And then before you know it, I was doing regular videos, and it's just started to build and build and build. So yeah, and then 6 years later, we are where we are. I mean, the years go so fast, and I absolutely love it. I really do.
Yeah, I think from you doing a video with no real intention initially to put it on YouTube, what actually made you sort of bite the bullet, if you like, and actually stick it on YouTube?
Thinking about it, I think I was looking at what other people was doing on YouTube, and I just thought I'd just put them on. There was no real thought process behind it. I certainly didn't think that I was going to have a channel like I've got now. I kind of just put them on, and then, I don't know, it wasn't like there was a big plan. I didn't have a big plan of this is what I wanted to do. I just thought, well, I'll put them on. And I mean, some of them have got like, at the time, my little girl was quite young, and there was like a pram. There's a pram in the background, and there's paperwork at the back. And obviously, over time, you do sort of get more professional with these things. But they were just the raw videos that I put on. And I did carry on the no head thing for quite a long time after. In fact, it was almost like my thing, whereby, because I wanted to concentrate solely on the equipment and I didn't want it to be about me, I sort of did that. And then it's only as the channel sort of evolved that I had to sort of reveal the face.
Yeah, I was going to say, I went back last week and again today and had a look at your original material, if you like, where it was just the product that you were reviewing rather than yourself being in the shop. When you revealed yourself, if you like, did you start to notice the channel growing even quicker after you did that? Because I think as well as people watch your channel because of what you are, you're reviewing boxing equipment, I think equally people like to actually see the person behind the channel as well.
Yeah, I mean, some would argue that when I revealed my face that the channel went downhill, but it became a point where there was a couple of people that was copying my style of video, and then apart from sort of my accent, there was only one way really to differentiate myself from the sort of the copycats, and that was to have my face on screen. But I was also getting to the point where I wanted to show in-gym footage, which a lot of, well, I don't think anybody at the time was really doing in-gym footage on boxing equipment reviews. And I wanted to do that. Very difficult to do that if you're not going to show your head. And also head guard reviews, really difficult because you got to show the head guard on the person's head, how it sits on the ears, how the vision is, and how it is at the back. You know, you can't do that if you're not showing the face. So I was all right with it. I mean, as I say, you can get a lot more across when you're showing your face. Of course, you can.
I suppose in a way, then it's almost a compliment, you know, to you and your channel for people out there, obviously watching what you do, choosing to copy you. But I suppose as again, you know, with showing your face and actually showing the equipment, then you know people can only go so far to copy your content. How did you manage the numbers as well? Because you know we've obviously got a channel. You know, as much as you want your channel to grow, you don't want to start being too obsessive over it. How did you manage that, and when did you really start seeing some success?
I remember, I think I said to you last week, I remember getting to 100 subscribers and being absolutely made up that 100 people would even want to watch me and what I was doing. But it was pretty consistent. It was like growing, and, you know, when people were sort of saying how they was enjoying them, and then they were sort of saying, can you review this? Can you review that? And then I started to kind of realise that I actually knew a lot more than a lot of people. And I also realized that when brands got in contact with me, I was actually realizing that I knew more than the brands as well, which was a bit of a shock because you know, if somebody's got a business and their business is boxing equipment or boxing gloves, I would imagine that they would know pretty much everything. But what I was finding is they only knew about their own range, and I was looking at it from whole of market. So I could sort of see what the best gloves were and what the worst gloves were. And I've got to be honest, you know, most of the brands out there think that their gloves are the best. And, well, that's impossible. They can't all be the best.
Yeah, I think like for what you do, reviewing all the boxing equipment, and for what, you know, we do, since we've started, we've noticed so many other channels that do similar content. You know, when you started making your videos and, you know, reviewing the equipment, do you get, you know, a lot of people sort of reaching out to you? I imagine, you know, new companies starting off that want to get their brand out there. Do you get a lot of people reaching out wanting you to review their equipment?
More so now. Obviously, early days, the very first company that got in contact with me, I think I was on about 100 subscribers. And they got in contact and said that, you know, they got a pair of gloves they wanted me to try. And again, I was like, wow, you know, they're wanting my opinion on their gloves. And it was a real shame because the gloves were very good. And I think they thought they were going to launch the gloves and then become millionaires the next day. And because obviously that didn't happen, they sort of abandoned it. And it was a good project. It was something that I would have thought that if they'd have carried on with it, would have worked for them, but they kind of give in too easy. And I have seen over the years where people who watch my channel, they'll say, I'm going to start my own boxing equipment review channel. And I do encourage people to do it and to have a go. But what you find in a lot of cases is they've probably got, say, 5 or 6 pairs of boxing gloves that they've currently got. And they put the videos together, and some of them have been really good videos. And then they get to the stage where they've run out of equipment, and then suddenly, again, if they haven't had a million views on a video, I think they think, oh well, I'm not going to bother. Oh, you know, I've been doing this 6 years, and I'm just over 20,000 subscribers. It's such a niche area, boxing equipment reviews. It's not like Prank Channel or a gaming channel or something like that, where obviously there's a big audience. And even though a lot of people like boxing, you know, it is getting better when it comes to the boxing equipment. But 6 years ago, you know, the biggest boxing equipment reviewer that was on when I started had been on for 6 years and had got 2,000 subscribers. So that tells you how small that was then. It's come a long way, and in the next 5-6 years it'll be even bigger. because I do think people are appreciating channels like mine, where we're totally impartial, we give an honest opinion, and then it helps them buy better equipment for themselves.
Yeah, I was looking at your Instagram as well, and it says on there that you don't get paid, and as you stated there, it's completely impartial. Would you ever look?
Yeah.
I know, and from speaking to you on the phone as well, it's all about getting good brands on your channel where you can give an honest review. What about if you get someone send something to you, and you have a review, and you're not that impressed with it? What do you do in that situation?
Yeah. Well, I'll just do it. I mean, I think the brands know what they're getting. They know that I am very honest, and so at the end of the day, obviously everybody wants to have 5 Fit to Box stars, which I've got a rating system where I score gloves, I score head guards, I score boxing boots, and everyone wants 5 stars. The majority of gloves don't get any stars. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. They get no stars. If they're a good glove, they don't get a Fit to Box star. And of course, if you're a company and you send me some gloves and I'll do a review and I'll say, they're good gloves, and you don't get a Fit to Box star, the brands, in my eyes, they can take it one or two ways. They can be offended, or they can take my honesty and they can go, right, okay, this is what he's saying. He knows all of the gloves like the back of his hand. He's telling us that we're a few levels below where we want to be, but he's also gave us some feedback as to how to get there. And many brands have improved their gear due to feedback from me. Many brands, massive brands, have done it.
Yeah, it's almost like a consultancy role, isn't it, for you, where you'll get
and like I said at the start, I set the channel up to help people get better boxing equipment. I was at the boxing club. I'm a coach, level 2 coach at Telford Amateur Boxing Club, and I think this is like getting back to the YouTube thing. I think the thing that used to frustrate me is you would get people come in and they'd been to Sports Direct and they bought some gloves and they'd spent £40 and it just wasn't very good. And I kept on seeing this happening over and over again. And I think it was that, coupled with obviously these videos that I'd got on an iPad somewhere, that I thought, you know what, I could make a difference here. I could stop people spending money on gloves that are not very good, point them in the right direction. When I first started the channel, I almost wanted it to be, if you appear on Fit to Box channel, it's a seal of approval. That was kind of what I wanted. So it was kind of, if you're not on Fit to Box channel, then that tells the viewers something. That tells them that I don't rate them. I don't rate that particular glove. But what happened over time is people started to take that I was just being positive about everything. There was missing the point of what I was trying to do, which was create a seal of approval. So what I started to do, I started to just review whole of market. And I bought in my price divisions on my website. So whatever price, a lot of viewers will turn around and say, I've got £50 to spend. What's the best gloves for £50? And I had so many requests like that. What glove's better, that glove or that glove? And I still get them sort of requests now. So on my website, fittoboxchannel.com, I've put price divisions. So I've got my different divisions at different price points. So if somebody's got £50, they can have a look at what I think are the best gloves, all in order, are under £50. And then my price divisions are 51 to 100, 101 to 200, 201 to 400, and 401 plus. So on the website, it's getting better and better with every review, because every review adds to it. So the depth of it is massive. And I do it so it's a reference point for people. Not that if I've said a certain glove is a champion in my eyes, it's not that that's going to be the best glove for everyone out there, because everyone's got different size hands, different tastes in style, and different preferences. But if you look at the price divisions, you can sort of, if you don't like the glove that I like at the top, you could pretty much go down the cards, the Fit to Box cards, which are very much like FIFA cards or Trump cards, and you could pretty much go down and pick a glove that you think, actually, I like that one. And then I would say, well, that's the glove you should buy, not the one that I've said is the champion. If you don't like that one, then why would you buy it? Go for the one that you like.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Big shout out to your website. I think, from our conversation last week as well, you were saying, you get quite generic questions on your YouTube channel. So it's nice that you can, you've got a platform where people can go, they can have a look. Because of course, like you say, everyone's got their own preference. Some people box just to stay fit. Some people want to, go amateurs, pro. So naturally, people have a different price range. And how nice is it for you as well, where you'll get a comment on the channel, you'll be at a show, and someone will come up to you and say, look, because of your YouTube channel and your reviews, you've pointed me in the right direction. You've maybe saved me some money.
Yeah, I mean, that is amazing, because ultimately I started the channel off not showing my face. So I didn't really want any fame as such. And I'm not saying that I'm famous at 20,000 subscribers. But when somebody comes up, and we was at a show last week, and somebody came up and said, oh, you're the guy that does the reviews, and said some very nice words to me about the reviews and how he always checks out the channel before he buys stuff. And that was just great. That is, people will either think that you're doing a YouTube because you want to get famous, or you want to get rich, or you just want free gear. And it's like, it's such a simplistic approach. Now, don't get me wrong. I had something sent through where it was a punch bag. I used it for 45 minutes and it broke. And I went back to the company and I said, I'm not doing a review of this. At the time, I was wanting them to improve the product. They was thinking they were just going to send it to me and I was going to say, yeah, this is great. But they did do that with a few other reviewers, whereby I looked on YouTube and there was these glowing reviews of this product, and it was absolutely rubbish. It was rubbish. And I thought to myself, oh my God, am I there's people that are just doing this for free gear, and there's people that are doing this for the right reasons. And I just went back to that company. I gave them a list of things that I would improve, and the components that I would improve the quality of. And they would literally come back to me and said, well, can you just do a video anyway? And I was like, you won't sell another one if I do a video, because I am going to tell you exactly what I've just said to you. I will say to my viewers. And I think it's that the honesty and the authenticity of what I'm doing, I think, is why the channel has grew to how it has. Because I'm not after a free gear. I'm not short on a pair of boxing gloves. You know what I mean? I love boxing gear. I think that comes across. And also, they know that I'm totally honest. Do I like to do videos where I'm slating stuff? No, I don't. It's not what I'm about. I'm a very positive person. There is videos, including the one that I'm doing tonight, which, it's a very, very sort of cheap pair of gloves. And no one can watch that video tonight and say that I'm too positive about them, because, they're not a good enough glove. Even though they're cheap, there's better options out there. And I would rather turn around and say, look, if you're going to spend X amount of money, then these are not the gloves for you. Why don't you look at X, Y, and Z? And then they can go and they can have a look, and they can pick the best ones for them.
I think as well, for people out there that might be watching this video, or already involved in boxing, or just want to get involved, maybe to be able to go on YouTube and watch your channel. And as you said, you're not going to start giving people great reviews just because they're giving you some free gear. It's all about honesty, being impartial and just keeping the integrity of the channel. I think that's that's brilliant, because I've seen some YouTubers grow, and then all of a sudden they've got apps, or they've got equipment, or they've got a clothing range, and they say it's the best thing since sliced bread. And you can understand people want that, maybe that financial boost to their channel, but I think for you, like you're saying, it's more about just giving someone an honest opinion, good feedback, so people out there are not going to go and waste their money, and they know what they're looking at.
And So the thing is, because I worked in the bank for 25 years, and with Instagram and people how they are now, it is very much a case of people think that money equals happiness, and that's not my viewpoint. My viewpoint is my aim is happiness, and I am happy, and helping others. As a boxing coach, I'm helping others all the while, and the channel is an extension of that. I'm just wanting to help people, and I'm not driven by money. You know, I've had the job where I had good money. I've had the sports cars. I've had that before, and really, it's a bit shallow. It's not what people think that it is. So you're sort of they're trying to get on the next pay scale, the next pay scale, the next pay scale, and all they're doing is giving themselves more and more stress. Whereas now, you know, I love what I do every day. Tomorrow morning is Monday morning, and I've got a couple of one-to-ones in tomorrow morning, and I'm looking forward to it. Whereas when I was in the bank Monday morning, I was like, oh no, I've got another week.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's a lot of people in that position where they're not enjoying their jobs. And I was stuck in that job for a long time. You got a mortgage, you got a family, you got kids, and things like that. And I was very lucky to be able to come out of it and to just go in the direction that I wanted to. But it was the best decision I made.
Yeah, I think you know that will resonate with a lot of people that watch that. You know, Sunday afternoon you start to get that feeling. You know, Monday morning tomorrow, got to go to work. And I imagine for what you did, lot of emails, a lot of meetings, and maybe a lot of stress. So for you to be in a position now where, you know, as you said, Monday morning tomorrow, you're looking forward to it. You know, I think a lot of people would like to be in that position. And looking at your YouTube channel as well, I know you said when you got to 100 subscribers, you was over the moon with that. After that milestone, when did you really then start to see more growth on the channel?
It was pretty consistent. It just, for me, the one thing that I was doing was I was always uploading on a Sunday and a Wednesday. So when I was looking at it, my consistency was more consistent than the other people that was out there that was kind of putting one on every so often.
Yeah.
And I think they lost sort of momentum because it was kind of, I was thinking of it a bit like a soap opera whereby people know that on a certain day they're going to see a new episode. And so I thought, well, if I do every Sunday and every Wednesday, and I did extend that to, I think I was doing 4 times a week at one time. And I've settled back to 3. I don't want to do a load of quantity. I want to keep the quality, and also fitting it in with my one-to-ones where I'm teaching people boxing. I do a lot of work with Telford Amateur Boxing Club. We've got a home show coming up, and also you know, with the channel, it takes time because it's not like I'm getting a pair of gloves, I'm sitting at a desk, and I'm just going off the top of my head. Yeah. There's a lot of testing, there's a lot of preparation involved, there's a lot of editing. There's so much to it to get these videos to the point where I'm happy with them. Someone said to me a couple of months ago, well, your videos are so polished that they look like you're being paid. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not being paid. So don't confuse professionalism with paid for, because since I started the channel, no brand has paid me for a review. I'm not even interested. And I've had companies that have said, how much is it? How much have I got to send you? And I'm like, no, it's not what I'm doing. And hopefully over time, you know, people recognize that that's the case. As you say, on my Instagram, I'll put it there. I don't think any other reviewers go out of their way like I do to actually state that. Everyone else is sort of just doing the thing, but I don't know whether it's because I'm British. I don't know whether it's because I'm a bit older. I don't know. I seem to be held to a higher moral code than everyone else. I don't understand why, but that does seem to be the case.
Yeah, from speaking to you last week and again today, it just feels like the sole purpose of your channel is simply, and I know maybe for some people would be hard to believe, but you're literally just to help people make an informed decision.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it is frustrating that people out there sometimes can't see when someone's just trying to do something good. We are in this sort of world where everyone thinks that, you know, that people have got to do something for a benefit for them. But my benefit is helping people. You know, at my amateur boxing club, we've got 3 coaches. And not only do we teach people boxing, but we deal with people's lives, what's going on in the background. You know, some of them are suffering real tough times. And we're there to not only show them how to do a jab, we're there to support them and make their lives better. And I think if you look at any voluntary coach in whatever sport, there has to be some of that in them. Because let's be honest, we're giving up our time with our children and our families to spend it with other people. And that's what we do. We do it every weekend when we take them out to the boxing. And that's what I love with the amateur boxing is, you know, when you drive a few hours to some remote place and you have to wait about for hours after the weigh-in, and your boxer gets in for 6 minutes and comes out and they've won. That's such an amazing feeling. And there's no monetary benefit to a volunteer coach. And there's, you know, you're doing it because other people's lives are better because of what you're doing. And I don't want to like come across like I'm like some sort of saint here, but that feeling of helping other people, I think, is massively undervalued.
Do you know what? You know, you saying that, I couldn't agree with you more. I used to, swimming's my background. Obviously, I love the sport of boxing, but I used to swim for a club, and the head coach there was the nicest bloke on the planet. Just like you, he would drive miles. He would be there every night. It's not just a case of getting there and telling you how to improve your butterfly or your tumble or whatever. It's about just helping you as a person as well, not just improving your stroke. And he was there all the time, offering people lifts home, and he had a wife, he had children, and the sacrifices that he made to help other people. And you could tell just for the love of the sport, helping people. So that really sort of hits home. And
it's brilliant.
And with your YouTube channel as well, I think you mentioned consistency, and almost like you say, being like an episode of EastEnders. People sit down on a certain day of the week at a certain time, and they expect...
I'm hoping that it's a bit more uplifting than EastEnders. I've got to be honest.
We're saying neighbours then. But no, I think it's 100% correct. For people out there that are considering starting a YouTube, if you had your time over again, what would you have done differently?
It's a good question. I mean, looking back at the first videos, I would have sorted out the background, because when you're just doing the first videos, you're so focused on sort of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not really bothered about what's in the background, what the camera's picking up or whatever. And but then again, there is a rawness there, and YouTube is about rawness. You can make a mistake on YouTube, and you can leave it in. Obviously, you don't want to go on there and you're making loads of mistakes, but it is that rawness that people like. Sometimes, obviously, you see some videos and the lighting's not very good, and that can put you off watching. And I think now, because the quality of the videos of not only me, but all of the reviewers has got so much better, I think it's harder to do a raw channel now, because somebody would just have a look and they go, well, this is nowhere near as polished or as professional or as well thought out as the other top boxing equipment review channels are. It's come a long, long way.
I think you're right, though. I think that YouTube is a brilliant platform. It doesn't matter whether you're someone that wants to make videos about your garden, or you want to talk about your car collection. It's just a platform where anyone can jump on, make some content, and upload it. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, because you can always improve. And I suppose as well, like anything, like you coach boxing, people evolve, just like your YouTube channel, from watching your first video to what you're doing now. Massive contrast in the quality and the content you're putting out now. Yeah, definitely. And the thing is as well, I'm always looking to improve. And I get lots and lots of great feedback,
probably 99% of the feedback that I get is really positive. And you're always going to get somebody that doesn't like what you're doing. And you're always, I said this on a podcast the other week, whereby if you go into a pub, you can look across the room and you can see somebody and you just don't like the look of them. And they've done nothing to you, but you look and you think something about that person I just don't like. And yet you can look across another side of the pub and see someone else and you think, I really like their energy. And you go and speak to them and you have a chat to them. And it's the same when they switch the video on. I mean, there may be people that when they come on, they hear my accent and go, oh, no, I can't listen to that. And they're gone. But there may be others that think, oh, yeah, you know, I actually quite like the fact that he's got a black country accent. You don't know. But what you do know is you cannot please 100% of the people all the time. You just can't. And if you think that you can, then you're kidding yourself. There's too many people in the world with too many different opinions. And I always think some people get very offended. So say if I do a video, say I'll do a video on a certain pair of gloves and I don't give them as good a rating as another pair of gloves. The people watching, they might be sitting there with them gloves on going, these are my gloves. I love these gloves. Yeah. Oh, Fit to Box is doing a review. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to this. And then I'm saying that I don't think they're as good as several other gloves. They're like, well, I don't agree with that because these are my gloves and I love them. And that's great that they do. But I can only speak as sort of whole of market. I have people say to me, well, how can you say that glove is better than that glove? And I'll say, have you tried that glove? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, how do you know I'm wrong?
And that's it. And at the end of the day, I think, you know, it's subjective, it's opinions. There's, you know, there's a lot of people in the world, and like you're saying, you know, you can't please everyone.
Yeah. I mean, and also on Instagram as well. I mean, Instagram makes me laugh because there's a lot of good stuff on Instagram. Don't get me wrong, but some of the stuff, the coaching that's going on, the pad work that's going on, is totally fundamentally wrong. It's not very good, and I think we're definitely in an age where popularity is more important than quality. Somewhere along the line, quality seems to have sort of gone down. And I think that's a real shame because at the end of the day, you know, the people are sort of taking their lead from these videos and perhaps copying them. And if they're copying, I mean, footwork videos are a classic example. Some of the footwork videos that are put on are literally saying this is footwork that is correct, and it's totally incorrect.
That's no. I feel like boxing in general, though, sometimes where you see people getting fights, sometimes you question whether it's their ability or how many Instagram followers they've got.
Yeah, but the YouTube thing where you've got the YouTube boxers, Jake Paul, and that's sort of highlighted it really, because you can have a good solid pro who's probably 1'9" or 1'10", but is not very good at social media. Is a really, really good boxer and has applied their whole life to it. And then you get somebody that's done some gaming videos and they've got a much, much bigger following and they're going to earn a lot more doing boxing. And that's like, well, that doesn't seem to make sense. But there is a balance now. If you're a professional boxer, you need to sort out not only your training, but you need to sort out your image and you need to sort out your social media and you need to interact with people, because there's never been a better time to get in contact with people. You can literally send a message to somebody and they send you a message back.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Since starting this channel, I think, you know, some things are about social media I can't stand, but I think when you look at the positive sides, just like how I reached out to yourself, I thought that it would take a little while, because we started doing we started doing football videos. We reviewed the games from the weekend with the intention at a point to, you know, reach out to people and try and get them on, have a chat about their career, up and coming fights and so on. And I thought, we've probably got to get to like 1,000 subscribers. But our first guest, Jack Hughes, he actually reached out to us and said, look, if you want a guest, I'll come on, because you know, it is hard. You know, we speak to some fighters that come on here have got you know, the Frank Warrens, the Eddie Hearns behind them, and they've got the big platforms. Some of them, well, most of them are on the small hall scene. So not only have they got to train for fights, they've got to sell tickets, like you were just saying, they've got to promote themselves, you know, and do all the other bits and pieces. So with modern technology, it is incredibly helpful. And like you just said, you can send someone a message, and you know, we've found 90% of the time people will see it and people will get back to you because they want the exposure.
Yeah. Well, I went on just through the channel. I mean, I went to Tony Jeffries Box and Burn Academy. The certificates are up there. And I met Scotty Cardle, ex-British champion. He was there. Obviously, Tony Jeffries, Glenn Holmes, who does the Box and Burn with Tony. And I was chatting to Tony, and at the time, I think he was on 3,000 subscribers, and I think I was on about 10,000 subscribers. And he said to me, he said, you know, getting subscribers on YouTube is really difficult in comparison to getting sort of, say, followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then Tony absolutely blew up. And it's as a result of consistent quality videos that he does. You know, if I was to say to anybody out there to watch somebody, it will be Tony Jeffries when it comes to the instruction. He's a former sort of Olympian. He's a former pro boxer. And he's very much into sort of the boxing fitness now. And it's just, you know, his videos are quality, and he puts them out there. And, you know, and I'm really pleased for him, even though he's gone massively past where I am. But his niche is much bigger than my niche. My niche is sort of boxing equipment. And some boxers are not bothered what they put on their hands. They just want to punch somebody. Whereas he's more about the instruction. And I think he's doing a great job. I think that if you can find somebody like that and follow them, I think that's ace. I think that's, you can add that to your own training. Try stuff. Some of it won't work, but try it. You know, run it past your coach at your gym, and put these things together.
And what do you make of the ratio from views to subscribers? Because sometimes we're put out a video, I don't know, for argument's sake, it might do 500 views. You might get like 2 or 3 subscribers. You know, we put one out the other day. I think it got like 700 views in the first day. Got like 10 new subscribers. But I think when you look at it, it's more or less like, for us at the minute, probably like 1-2 subscribers per 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Which I suppose people are, I don't know, maybe they're a little bit picky. Maybe they want to watch a bit more content before they subscribe. I know obviously not everyone's got a YouTube account, and people can't be bothered because you got to, you know, set an account up, etc. But how have you found that? Because you know, you've got 20,000 subscribers and obviously nearly 6 million views. You know, what do you make of that?
At first, I was a bit like you. I was a bit sort of watching very, very closely. And then, you know, I got to the stage where it was almost like, I'm not sure whether or not all my views are showing. I'm not convinced now that all of my subscribers that have done the notification bell are getting the you know, it feels like you can get hidden by the algorithm, and I see others that sort of the stuff is not as good, and they're being lifted up. And I would say when I got to 10,000 subscribers, I think something changed. I really do. Suddenly, I was putting videos on. They were getting 1,000 subscribers, not 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 views like that. Within 24 hours, 48 hours, I was getting 1,000 views, and then suddenly it was like struggling to get to 400, and I hadn't changed anything. In fact, the videos were better. Yeah. And it's like, but if the algorithm is hiding you, then there's nothing you can do. And that's where I get it. You can't judge your success by subscribers and views, because if you do, you'd end up in a mental institution, because it's crazy. You've got no control, and honestly, you don't know whether or not, you don't even know whether it's true.
Yeah, it is a funny one, because I remember saying to you on the phone, I made a conscious decision not to look at it too closely. Sometimes I think, do you know what, I'm not going to look at it for 2 weeks because I don't want to become obsessed with that. And I think at the same time as well, we all want bigger channels, we all want more views. Of course, you know, you want to, like Phil, what you do, you want to help as many people as possible. And for what we do,
Yeah.
we want to help boxers get the exposure and grow. But you know, it can be difficult because we interview some people and you think, do you know what, I think that video will do really well. You put it up and you think, oh, you know, and it doesn't. When did you do a video where it did surprise you in a positive way?
The video that I've had the most views on was I did a one for the Tyson Fury Glovegate, and I did that and it just blew up. So that video's had more than 1 million views now. So you know, it's great that I've got a video that's got a million views on, but that one also was the one that caused the most sort of abuse, the most sort of negativity as well. So it's not just because you get a video that is like goes through the roof. In these days, sometimes it's more because they're controversial than whether or not it's quality or not. I still think it was a good video. Don't get me wrong. The reason it did go was because I sort of explained it in such a way. And obviously it was mainly the Wilder fans that did not like what I was saying. So there's nothing I could do because I didn't even realise at the time when I put it out what sort of the Wilder fans were like. Yeah, no,
you're absolutely right. We interviewed a heavyweight. We uploaded the video on Friday, and I asked him, you know, I said, you know, do you think you're controversial? Because a lot of people say he is. And, you know, I think he answers the questions. You ask him a question, he gives you an honest answer, and he's not particularly worried about upsetting people. And I think we do live in an era where everyone is trying to be politically correct, and people do want to jump on you if you make a mistake. And like you were saying, like, because it was a little bit controversial, you know, people were interested. People were in the comments. They wanted to give him abuse. But for us, it was a good video because it done a lot of views. But I suppose when you do bigger numbers, though, it goes without saying, occasionally you are going to get someone on there say something negative. Does that sort of thing bother you? Or do you just...
you know, in that particular video, they were saying that I was lying, I was a cheat, I was the devil. There was a whole sort of race narrative under that fight that I wasn't aware of. And, you know, people thought that I was Tyson Fury's brother or Tyson Fury's cousin, I think just because I'm a white guy with bald head. But, you know, it was really bizarre to me because as far as I'm concerned, race is not a thing in boxing anyway. Because anybody that comes to a boxing club, they're welcome. Always has been the case. I know they talk about sort of diversity and acceptance and all of this, but boxing clubs have been doing that way before people started talking about it. Anybody turns up, everyone gets respected in the boxing club, and you know, you've only got to look back to like your Barry McGuigan and stuff, where there was, you know, the Catholics and Protestants in the same gym, and then outside the gym it was all kicking off. So, you know, I think boxing sort of is more than that. And what I didn't realise is there's a lot of channels out there that were sort of promoting this sort of Wilder as sort of a figurehead for what they believed in. And I wasn't commenting on that. I was commenting on that I just didn't believe that he had his knuckles in the wrist of the glove. You know, the glove was opening and closing for a start. So if you got the knuckles in a glove, there's no way that you can open and close a glove. But, you know, there was channels actively just going out of their way to promote falsehoods. And I did the video because I was like, well, that's simply not true. You know, if you know about boxing gloves, which I do, and you know about boxing, which I do, then you know that X, Y, and Z, what they were saying, was just rubbish. But dressed up as 100% fact.
Yeah, I think maybe as well, like we were saying, when there is controversy, maybe people jump on that because they want the video to do well. So it is a way of pushing the video out. Where do you get your most views from? Is it predominantly the UK or is it all over the world?
No, America. Which again, you start off a channel. And I was thinking perhaps some people in Telford and some people in Wolverhampton might watch. I never thought that it would be worldwide. My stats are something like, it's been a while since I had a look, but say 35-40% USA, 25% UK, and then like a real mix across the rest of the world. I mean, I get messages from everywhere. It's brilliant. It is really brilliant. And also what I've loved over sort of the COVID period is the amount of people that are on the opposite side of the world, and I do a video call with them, and they're showing me gloves and I'm showing them gloves, and I just love it. I just think that the world is such a small place because of technology.
And we spoke as well last week about engagement. We might do a video, I don't know, half hour, and you might have an average view duration for 5 minutes, sometimes maybe 10 minutes, depending on the guest and their story. Yeah. How much do you look at that, and how have you sort of looked at ways to keep people engaged with the video? Because I remember saying to you again, I watched a Mr. Beast interview. He was speaking about his content and retention. Yeah. I think he said within the first 30 seconds of a video, he'd already done like 8 different shots. Of course, for what we do, we can't obviously do anything like that, and I don't think I could create content like that anyway. I'm just haven't got that sort of mentality. Yeah. How much do you look at that?
In the past, I looked at it a lot, but since I sort of don't believe the numbers anymore, I just do my thing. I'm not, what, you can get yourself into a serious hole trying to chase numbers that in reality might not be true. So I'm not, now I've sort of gone past it. I just don't think that you can have your own self-worth based on subscribers and views. I just don't think it's not a good place for happiness, because you might do a video and then you lose half of your subscribers, and what you're going to do, you're like going to become all depressed and hide in a hole. You just got to just put out stuff that you're happy and proud that you're putting up. I wouldn't swap my channel as a boxing equipment review channel. I wouldn't swap it with anyone in the world, because the quality and the depth of what I've got and what I've built up, I wouldn't swap it with anyone. And even if someone else has got 100,000 subscribers or 500,000 subscribers, I would not swap my channel for their channel.
I think it goes back to what you said a little earlier as well. For you, naturally, you look at the numbers, but it's more about if you can help a few people or a lot of people, whatever the number may be. I suppose for you as well, you never really know, because some people will watch your video and from that they'll go and purchase a glove that they love, but I suppose not everyone will then send you a message on the back of that.
Of course not. Of course not.
But for you, again, it's more about just helping people. But at the same time, what is the target for the channel?
Target for the channel, I would love to get a YouTube play button. 100,000 subscribers, I would love to get there. Yeah. Am I going to stop at 100,000 subscribers? No. Am I bothered that I'm not at 100,000 subscribers at this point? No. It's kind of, I'm just enjoying doing it, and I think when I get to the stage where I'm not enjoying it, I'll stop.
And if someone is watching this video and they're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, regardless of the content, what advice would you give them?
Be consistent. Do it because you love it, not because you want to be famous, not because you think you're going to get rich overnight, not because you think you're going to get 1 million views on a video, because you're setting yourself up for failure by doing that. Not getting frustrated by, oh, well, that video, I'll put that video on and I've got 2 subscribers, and I'll put that video on and I've got 1 subscriber. You can't live your life like that. You put out the quality content that you want to put out stuff that you would want to watch yourself, and then that's it for me. I mean, I see channels where they've got like 250,000 subscribers. They put a video on and they get 1,500, 2,000 views. And I'm thinking to myself, that must be so frustrating, because no one's watching that channel.
Yeah.
You've got 250,000 subscribers and you're getting 2,000 views. How is that even possible? That's basically no one is watching you. I'd much rather be in a position what I'm in now, where I've got less subscribers, but I feel like people are watching, than somebody that's got loads. You do see videos on YouTube as well. I remember one girl. She had I think she had 300,000 subscribers, and she was saying she was getting totally depressed. She was getting totally demoralized because she wasn't seeing the amount of views that reflected the amount of subscribers, even if it was 10%, even if it was 10% of people had put the notifications. She was like basically saying, this cannot be right. I've got all these subscribers and no one is seeing my content. So she'd been hidden for whatever reason. I don't know why, but she'd been hidden, and she ended up just leaving YouTube. She built up a channel that had got like 300,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, her mental health was suffering because of a number on the screen.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You know, we're a a tiny channel, and obviously we want to grow and go in the right direction. But I think you've almost just got to have the attitude of, just be grateful that for the people that are watching your channel, because of course
definitely
there are a lot of people out there, but if people are watching, and like you're saying as well, we love boxing. You know, me and my colleague Shane do the channel. We do our separate interviews, and occasionally when we get time, we'll do a video together. We haven't done one for a while because of how busy we've been with the interviews. But I could not start a channel and talk about a sport, even if it was going to do loads of views, that I just wasn't interested in, because like you're saying, you just haven't got the passion for it.
Well, people have said to me, why don't you review MMA gloves? I've never done MMA.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching it. I can see the skill involved, but my passion is boxing. And I don't think I would have that authenticity to sit in front of the camera and say to people that do know MMA that this is a good glove, because I'm not into it. So MMA is very, very popular. I'd probably get loads more subscribers, loads more views. But for me, I would lose that authenticity. And it's very important to me, that is.
And going back to when you first started, of course, you was sat there just reviewing the product. You didn't have your face in it. And when you look at what you're doing now, the quality, how you present and how you review is, obviously got better as you've gone on. When
Hopefully.
It definitely has. I've watched a few of your videos for obvious reasons. You were coming on here, so I wanted to get an idea of how you reviewed them, what sort of brands you were reviewing. How when you sort of look at your channel and you look at the sort of the next sort of couple of years, are you looking to do anything different to what you're doing now? How do you sort of see the channel evolving?
I really want my price divisions and my ratings to be almost like the ring ratings. That's what I want. I want it to be the industry standard, so that people go, what does Fit to Box what does Fit to Box think of these?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How is Fit to Box? How is Simon at Fit to Box channel rating these? There's other people doing ratings, and they're all to different levels and whatnot. But mine, I think that mine are the most consistent. I spend a hell of a long time sort of making sure that they're in the right order and that I'm happy with the scores. And I would like to be in a position where the brands and the general public are right. Okay, what does Fit to Box think? How has Fit to Box ranked these? And I know for a fact brands are aiming for more stars. If they get 1 star, which is very good, they're aiming to get 2 stars, which is great, or 3 stars, which is excellent, or 4 stars, which is outstanding. And everyone is aiming to get 5 Fit to Box stars, which is the best. And some of them are not going to get it. But I can see there's an improvement in the brands because they are aiming to improve their score. So again, that ties in with why I do the channel, to get people to have better boxing equipment, and the ratings are even helping with that. So I'd love to get to 100,000 subscribers. I'd love to have my ratings as the go-to place for people who are looking at boxing equipment, not only for them to be helped in getting the better boxing equipment for themselves, but I'm the trusted source for, right, okay, that's the score that he's given. There's a reason and he consistently checks his scores and verifies, so I can see that at any given time on my website, that's my order. And it literally is my order. So if somebody gives me 10 pairs of gloves and then I put them in an order of what I would like, and if I had to pick them, if I had to go sparring and I had to pick which order I wanted, that's the raw order that you see on my price divisions on my website. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so it's almost like the nod of approval, and of course, because you've not, you're not getting paid, you've not got some like a brand behind you. It's completely genuine, impartial review.
Of course, yeah, of course, and I've got no like favoritism.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, if any brand produces a piece of equipment that is absolutely fantastic, I will tell the world. But if they produce something that's rubbish, I will also tell the world. So there's a bit of a gamble. When companies do get in contact with me, I'll say to them, look, this is a bit like a real professional. You are going out and you're pitting yourself against other professional boxers. This is the same realm for boxing equipment, because you're going to be scored and rated and ranked alongside the other brands. Now, if you think that you're just going to appear as the champion, and that doesn't happen, you've still got to deal with the fact that you're not at the top.
Has anyone ever asked you to take a review down?
Just trying to think. Not them asking me to take a review down. It's more, so say for example, I had one company whereby I did the review and they were good gloves, but then I started to hear that they wasn't giving good customer service. And the more I heard that, the more I became, right, I've got to take this down. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to put a video on that means that my viewers watch my review and then have a bad customer experience. Yeah. So, if a brand, it goes both ways, because if a brand consistently is great at customer service, then I become more confident in putting them on the channel and speaking good things about them. And if someone is letting their customers down with their customer service, I really do think that is part of their brand. It's not just about the stylish gloves and how the gloves feel. It's also the aftercare of how are they going to treat my viewers. And if I think a company is not going to treat my viewers right, I won't put them on the channel.
Yeah, so it's not just the necessarily quality of the glove or how good they are when you've got an issue. It's the whole brand.
Yeah. How do they react when there's a complaint? Are they fair? The general public is more demanding than ever. I do get messages where people say, oh, well, I've noticed this and I want a full refund and I want a free pair of gloves and I want to keep the ones that I've already got. And it's like, yeah. And then I look at what the brand is saying, and I think, well, that's a reasonable action, what they're giving. And yet the person is like really upset. And it's like, well, they are still running a business, and as long as they're trying to help and they're not just turned around and said, no, tough. So, I've worked in a bank, as I say, I have seen both sides of the complaining customer and also been on the other side of that as to reasonable measures that you're trying to put something right. I mean, if somebody complains, you could turn around and say, well, you've complained, I'm going to give a free pair of boxing gloves every single time. Yeah. Well, as a brand, you ain't going to last long, are you?
No, of course. I think like any big organisation, people make mistakes. We're humans. And as long as, like you say, that same business is trying to put it right, you can't do much more than that. And of course, people...
I think that people are very quick to now go online, slate the company online, and then they'll come to me and they'll say, this is what this company's done. And I'm like, well, have you spoke to them? And they're like, no, I sent an email 2 hours ago and they haven't come back to me. And it's like, you sent an email 2 hours ago to this busy company. You haven't even given them 24 hours, 48 hours to sort out your problem. And you've gone on to the world and you've slated them. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not really being fair. And I understand you're disappointed, but come on. You know, they might have been in the shop, they might have been on the road, they might have been in a meeting, and they've not answered your email within 2 hours. I mean, you've got to be fair. It's a two-way thing for me.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to give someone a chance. I've
Yeah.
got to ask you then, for what you do, you know, you've done thousands of reviews, you've been going a few years now, and you've obviously looked at equipment closely. You're a boxing coach, you know, so you're around it, you know, sort of 24/7 as well. You almost feel and sound like the perfect person to start your own brand, because you know what people want. You know,
Yeah.
it's what you do.
Yeah.
Is it something that you've ever considered, or something that, you know, you might potentially do in the future?
I could do that. The only problem I've got is I'm really happy. And if I'm going to start a company and have all the problems with the manufacturing that goes with manufacturing, and all the costs of the shipping, and then you put your product out and then you have people complaining. And so I'm almost like, when I'm in a position of happiness, why would I do that? So I'm happy to help others and to give feedback to others. And there is definitely a place for that. And I enjoy that part of it as well. But I don't know, I think I value my happiness a bit too much at the minute.
Yeah, I think, like you said earlier, you know, you love what you do, with the YouTube, your coaching. So why sort of jeopardize that and start a company when, you know, you don't have to? And like we were saying a minute ago as well, you might do it, and you know, it takes a long time, and you've got to deal with all the, you know, the issues. And we actually, I know you know the brand that we had on, I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago, I think, that
Yeah,
you've spoken to
Thor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
When I was speaking with him, I think it took, from thinking about it to actually getting a glove, I think he said it's about 2 years. And then you have to wait a long time, because, you know, you can't just order a load of the gloves, you've got to order, you know, a sample. And
yeah,
then of course you've got to try and push it out, and of course you've got all the competition as well.
yeah. And you see, also, I feel like I've got a duty of care to that sort of person, because he might have remortgaged his house to get the stock that is in his garage or whatever. I'm not talking about Thor now, I'm talking about the brands in general.
Yeah.
They're trying to achieve something. And I could, in one video, destroy their brand. And it's like, so I take that very seriously, because it's one thing to help promote somebody. But if I know that the power of the videos that I do, that I could sort of kill their brand. So I would rather go back to them and give them feedback for them to come back with an improved product, and also give them a chance to sell the 40 grams worth of stock that they've got, rather than me like giving them no chance. I don't think I'm doing them a favour, and I don't think I'm giving them a chance to succeed. So I try to be balanced with that as well.
Yeah, so I was gonna, yeah, so when you're dealing with new brands that want the exposure and want your nod of approval, do you get that a lot, where, you know, you might be looking at something, a glove or whatever it may be, and think, I can't say enough positive stuff about this item, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to take it back, improve it, and then come back to me, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, there's a lot of stuff that I do in the background that people don't see, that people just do not see. So the conversations that I have with brands, where I'm saying, look, I've got this pair of gloves, you've copied another pair of gloves, another famous brand's pair of gloves, and I'm not going to review it because of that. Because I've told you before, I'm looking for you to come out with your own thing, and all you've done is copy someone else and charging cheaper for it. The amount of conversations that I have with brands like that the viewers will never see, never understand that I'm doing, but I do a tremendous amount of that, because I do think that there's a lot of people just copying stuff, and I don't think it's right. And I always try to give credit where credit's due, to the people who are the innovators, the ones that come up with the ideas. But ultimately, I'm not the patent police either. So it's not up to me to enforce patents.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've dealt with a brand, and you've gone back and said, look, I don't want to put it on because, again, maybe I can't say enough positive stuff, or you've gone back and said, look, this is my honest opinion, and if I do the video, this is what I'm going to say. Have you ever been put in a position where almost you've been put under a little bit of pressure to actually say they're actually better than they are?
No, not at all, because I don't work for anyone.
Yeah.
So I'm under no pressure. So I can go to a big brand and I can say, them gloves are rubbish. I don't work for them. I can say my honest opinion. How they take that feedback is up to them. If they go, well, actually, from what you've said, we think you're right. But then they could go the other way and go, absolutely, that's outrageous. Can't believe you've said that about our gloves. And I've had some companies they'll send stuff to me. I'll go back to them and say, look, at the end of the day, you need to improve this, this, and this. And they send it to another reviewer, and that reviewer will give them a glowing review. And they'll come back to me and they'll say, well, what's the difference? How come? And I'm like, well, they clearly do reviews for free gear, and I don't. So there you go.
And have you come across a brand where they do really well, or one of the existing brands? I know there's lots where they've got that one sort of flagship item, and do you ever see it where they start to release other things and it's almost a substandard because they've got that brand?
I would say generally, because you've got the same people behind. They launch the gloves, then they do a head guard, then they do the groin guard, whatever it is. But you've got the same people with the same processes in that brand behind each item. So generally what you find is that if their gloves are good, their head guard is going to be decent, their groin guard is going to be decent, they're going to have the same standards across the piece. Now, it's different when it's, say, a massive, massive company, because obviously they are going to have their top-end gear, and then they're going to have their stuff like the video I'm doing tonight like I'm doing one on an Everlast glove, which is £9.99. It's a rubbish glove. But you can't compare that £9.99 glove with ones that are £200 from Everlast, because the ones from £200, they're good. So in that sort of situation, because they're such a massive company, there is a big difference between the top and the bottom. But if with a normal, smaller company, you do find that the people that are behind it are consistent in their approach to each product, and you generally find that they're going to be a good standard. If the one thing is good, then the others will follow suit. That's what I would say.
I suppose as well, if you've got kids out there and they just want to have a little play around, then you don't mind going to spend a tenner because they're just having a go. It's when maybe they then join a boxing club or start competing, then you start looking at, that's when you go to your website, watch your channel, watch all the reviews, and to make a good decision.
Yeah, and the video tonight, I mean, it's a £9.99 pair of gloves. They come out, they score as poor. But the bottom line is, what I'm trying to do there is not really to slate them gloves, but more to say, if you're out there and you're wanting a pair of gloves and you want to spend under £30, then there is better options out there. And really pointing out to avoid certain things, because they're wasting their money.
Yeah, of course. It's from all the equipment out there, for some people starting it sounds like a bit of a minefield. For what you do with your website and your videos, I can see why you've got near on 6 million views. So looking at what you do with your YouTube, your website, your coaching, you sound like a incredibly busy individual. What else you got coming up? I know obviously you said you jump on a few podcasts. Do you do that quite often?
I've done a couple. I really enjoy doing them. I've jumped on, especially with the Tyson Fury thing, I went on to a few channels to give my sort of opinion on their channels. Again, there's nothing really in it for me, apart from obviously, hopefully, your viewers will watch this and perhaps watch my videos as well. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, I think if you remember what it's like to be a really, really 100 subscribers YouTuber when you're a bit bigger, and then you can help them people. And why not? You know what I mean? It's an hour of my time. Why wouldn't I help them?
Yeah, of course. And we're very grateful for you coming on because, like I said at the beginning, we speak to so many different people. Everyone's got their own story. And I think your story equally is just as interesting. You know, worked in the banking world for a long time, obviously left, started your YouTube, your boxing, and you're incredibly content doing it. And I think lots of people would love to get up tomorrow morning and enjoy their day, but I think we can probably honestly say that 90% of people probably won't. So for getting to that stage and just being content and doing it for the right reasons as well, just doing it to make people, make a decision, informed decision, and spend their money wisely. And just finishing on, I wanted to ask you about the Fury White fight. Firstly, about the no-show at the press conference, and just get your prediction come the 23rd of April.
Well, I think White should have turned up at the press conference. Obviously, it's part of the fight, isn't it? Building of the fight, and I hope that sort of now starts getting sorted out, and he starts to sort of engage. Obviously, he might not think he's getting enough money and whatnot, but I do think that to build the fight, to build the excitement, I think that it would be great for him to get involved with it. I think he's been treated badly over a number of years with how he's been sort of made to wait. I can understand if he's a bit bitter about sort of purses and sizes of purses and how long. I think it was over 1,000 days he was waiting as the WBC mandatory challenger, and I just think that he's wrong. And he's had some good fights in there as well. And I think that Tyson Fury will beat him. But he's got a chance. He's definitely got a chance.
Yeah, it's heavyweight boxing, a little bit cliche, but one punch can change anything. Going back to a press conference, I think, it's difficult because, we only get to hear about what happens. We never really know what goes on behind closed doors and what's really happened. But for his fans that have been there from day one, I think it would have been nice for them to see him turn up. However, when you got Tyson Fury, if there's one man can do a press conference on his own, it's definitely Fury. Did you hear the Talk Sport back and forth between Warren? What did you make of that?
Oh, it was incredible, really, wasn't it? The fact that they were showing their dirty laundry in front of everyone in the way that they did. But obviously they're not talking, they're not communicating, they're not sorting out the problems that they need to. And it took for a sort of a live phone-in for them to start airing these things. Yeah. From a fan's point of view, it all adds to the spice and the mix and the excitement of what's going on. But from their point of view, and it must be very frustrating because they're all working towards the same thing ultimately.
Yeah, I suppose in a way, him not turning up, everyone is talking about it. So I suppose there is that flip side. Everyone's talking about it. I'm asking you, and you see on other interviews, everyone's got their say on it. I know there's still people that doubt the fight is going to happen. I really hope it does because I
hope it does.
Yeah, it'd be a brilliant fight. I know that Fury, spoken about hanging the gloves up after this one. Whether he does or not, who knows? Because he likes to keep us on his toes from what he says.
Yeah,
but, yeah. I think it'd just be a great occasion at Wembley as well. Like I think it's like a record crowd. It should be an incredible night.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still love to see AJ versus Wilder. I'd love that fight.
Yeah.
It'd be such a great fight, and it was a hot fight at one point. Obviously, it's sort of gone off the boil, but I still would like to see. Still think that would be great. I'm not so certain Usyk rematch is the right way for AJ. I think Usyk is a tremendous athlete. He's not a small man, even though they keep saying he's a small guy. He's not a small guy. He's a small guy in comparison to Tyson Fury, but he's still big enough, and he's still skillful enough, and he's a southpaw. And in the first fight for AJ to think that he was going to outbox Usyk was that's never going to happen. And then people seem to think that he's going to just go in there and bomb him out. Well, there's a hell of a lot of people over his amateur and his pro career that have gone in with the attention of bombing Usyk out. He's a very, very high level boxer. So
it seemed like from watching the interview that he did with Coogan a little while ago that Anthony Joshua just wanted to prove the public wrong. You know, everyone said he couldn't outbox him.
Yeah,
we all saw what happened. I agree with you. I don't think it's the right fight. And of course, with what's going on in the world, Usyk's going to have the whole stadium behind him wherever it is.
Yeah, I do think that AJ might be one of these fighters, a bit like Amir Khan, whereby he can lose multiple times and still be interesting. So you do get some fighters that lose once, lose twice, that's it for them. Nobody's interested. But I do think AJ, his persona, his physique, how he is, how he carries himself, the potential matchups out there, I still think he could lose to Usyk and still have a good career where he fights lots of other people. And I think at one stage he was saying he's still got 10 years left. That's probably about 8 years now. But he certainly wasn't thinking, right, I'm going to have 2 years in sport and then I'm finished with it. It was like, well, win or lose, I just want to have this career. And, you know, he rematched Ruiz and, you know, he got the win. Who knows? Perhaps he can.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think some people are just box office, and yeah, like you say, you know, anything can happen. I think the general feeling is that he will lose the rematch, but we've all seen it. You know, just because that's the general feeling doesn't mean it's going to go that way. White could knock Fury out in the first round. We just never know.
And that is the interest of boxing is still. I've watched this sport since I was like 6 years old, and still I can have an informed sort of punt at who's going to win. But the great thing is some of these matchups, there's so many variables. It's like, well, I can't even predict it. It's a 2-horse race and I can't even predict it.
Well, listen, if Leicester can win the Premiership, Dillian Whyte can beat Tyson Fury.
Yes. There is always, Dillian Whyte he's a good boxer. He's got power. He's improved massively over the years. You know, Tyson Fury's been knocked down multiple times. It's not beyond his reach. It's certainly not a Tyson Fury definite win. Definitely, it's still an interesting fight.
Well, we will certainly find out, all being well, on the 23rd of this month now. Well, listen, Simon, I know you've got another video to do tonight. I just want to say it's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
No, I've really enjoyed it. It's again, you know, we speak to predominantly boxers, so it's nice to get someone else on in the boxing world that is doing something completely different. And I think for a lot of people that watch this, and if they're thinking about purchasing some equipment, it's you know, definitely worth going to your YouTube channel first and visiting your website. For, you know, for some more information. Just before we finish up, is there anything you'd like to add?
Just, you know, check out the channel. There's a hell of a lot of videos on there. I consistently upload. I try and do Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays now. That's kind of where I've sort of settled. But yeah, have a look on there. There's loads and loads of content. I try to keep it as entertaining as possible as well, because we're in the entertainment business as well as just doing sort of, you know, I've seen some people that do fairly bland reviews, and it's like, oh, you know, it's an ordeal to watch. So I do try and sort of mix it up. I have got a gregarious sort of personality. My sort of style as well is I do like in-your-face stuff. And that's why I say, you know, I can't pick the gloves and equipment for everyone, because the person that likes plain black, you know, boots, and I like futuristic Hyper KO 2.0s, you know, they'll pick that and I'll pick that. But on the channel, I can show them both.
No, of course, there is always that element of personal preference, but I think putting that to a side, it's about the quality of the product, and you know, it's impartial. You give honest reviews.
Yeah, well, it's what I do it for. And at the end of the day, I mean, I hope that the channel gets bigger and bigger. I hope that I can help more people. I certainly feel like I can help more people with the videos that I've done already, but the ones that I'm doing. And I'm just enjoying the journey. you know, for the channel, I've interviewed Junior Witter, I've interviewed Wayne Elcock, Scotty Cardle. So I've met Tony Jeffries, and this is all off me doing some videos to camera when I was on holiday, videos that I was never going to even put on YouTube, and all of these amazing things have happened as a result of it. So I'm not sort of focused on the destination. I'm enjoying the journey, and for yourself doing what you're doing here, I would just do that. Don't get too sort of embroiled in, well, it's not quite happening now, because let's be honest, you could do an interview with somebody next week and it might go ballistic, and then the whole of your channel is then lifted up. You might be doing this for another 3 years before you get that video, but you know what you're going to do, be depressed for 3 years until you get there, or are you going to enjoy the experiences and chatting to the different people? You got to enjoy it.
Yeah, for me, you've hit the nail on the head. I want to see the channel grow, but I don't want to be obsessed with that. I want to put out regular content so our audience can find out about the boxers, not just in the ring, about how they got there. And often it is the case. It's almost like people fall into it by accident sometimes. Just like you did a video initially, no intention for YouTube, but you put it on YouTube, and then from that, nearly 6 million views. You've met some, by the sounds of it, some great people, and you're just enjoying the journey, which I think, out of for everything you've said, I think that's just the main thing. You're happy with what you're doing.
Yeah. Happiness is the most important thing, and I have to stress, money is not happiness. When I was in the bank, I saw a lot of rich, unhappy people.
Yeah, I think for me, health is wealth, and we all want a few quid, but I think for whatever it is you're doing, just try and do it for the right reasons. I know everyone's got to earn money, and sometimes it's a means to an end, but I think just try and enjoy the journey as well.
Yeah, and with people as well, there's a lot of people, especially with like the lockdown periods, and a lot of youngsters I'm seeing, they're struggling.
Yeah,
they're struggling mentally, they are struggling. And I think people need to re-engage with people, help people. Everyone's retreating onto their phones, and I think that the most important thing is that social interaction, and having a crack at the boxing club is one of my great sources of happiness, because I can see not only are we developing these people as boxers, but their quality of life is improving as a result. If the boxing club wasn't there, then where would they be? Some of them would not be here. That's the thing.
It's working on that mental resilience as well. I was going to say as well, for people that are watching this, that are local to your area, if they want to come down the club, have a go, regardless of their ability, their age.
Definitely.
How do they find you? What's the best? I know it's probably quite obvious. You go online and have a look, but what is the best way? Can they just turn up?
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, we've got a website, we've got Instagram. It's Telford Amateur Boxing Club, and anybody and everyone is welcome. The club is massively successful. Run it with 2 other coaches, Lindsay and Ryan, and we move the club on every single week. We improve that club. And we're building something very special. We're putting on a home show very soon, which is the first home show for about 10 years. And Telford Amateur Boxing Club has been going 50 years this year. So it's quite fitting that we're putting our own home show on 50 years in, which is a tremendous achievement for all the coaches that went before me. Some of them still living, some of them have passed away. But for that to be a community centre and hub for people to improve their lives, been there 50 years. It's amazing to me.
So anyone on the fence, a little bit apprehensive, don't worry, just get yourself done, and they'll be made very welcome.
Definitely. There is no, I can tell you now, we have got no idiots at the club. I think boxing, because it's such a hard sport, it wheedles out the thugs. And our club, we've got some great boxers, but we've got some even better people.
Yeah, I think for such a brutal sport, met some great people in boxing.
Oh, some of my best friends are based on the fact that we've punched each other in the face. And that, that is the, it does build. I think it'd probably be like if you was in the army, or I know rugby's got a very similar sort of thing, but because the training, even if you're just doing press ups and burpees next to somebody, or you're doing drills, or you're sparring, or you're doing bag work, it does build. You're going through something that is hard, and you're experiencing different things, whether it be a good spar or a bad spar, or you have your nose bleeding, or you make somebody's nose bleed. It's all sort of, you're doing that together. And I think that builds such big bonds when it comes to friendships for life.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Put the phone down for a couple of hours, get yourself off TikTok, social media, get in the gym, have a workout, and it just makes you feel 100% better.
Yeah, and I definitely think that these days now, there is so much that is being bombarded to people with your social media. It's very easy to lose hours looking at a phone or a tablet, and I think it's being disciplined to say, you know what, on this particular night, Mondays and Wednesdays is our night for the amateurs, and on that particular nights that they sort of get out of the house and have a workout and have the crack with the people that are there. And I think people would benefit a tremendous amount from that.
Well, we often hear, don't we, in boxing, that it saves lives, and obviously you see it firsthand, especially coming off the back of a pandemic.
Yeah,
it's good for people that have that sense of that sort of homely feeling of community. And as you're saying as well, you haven't got any idiots down there. Everyone's welcome. So yeah, for anyone watching this, get yourself down the club.
Yeah, and also if I'm at a show, come up and speak to me. If I'm at a show, come up, speak to me. If you like the channel, tell me. If you don't like the channel, then hopefully there's not many of them. But if you don't like the channel, come and tell me why. You know what I mean? Because I do want to improve the channel. Everything that I do is improving the boxing club, but improving the channel as well. And as I say, it is great to meet the people that I don't even know are watching.
Yeah.
And they're making purchases on the back of my videos, and they're really pleased, and they come up and they say that to me. I bought these gloves because of your video, and I really love them. And I'm like, job done.
Well, that's it. Like, you think of all the people that you've helped with giving constructive feedback. So for you to be open to that as well, just sort of swings and roundabouts really. But listen, again, been great to get you on here. I'm sure again at some point we can get you back on.
Yeah, when I get 100,000 subscribers, let's do it.
100%, Simon. Well, anyway, mate. All right then. Well, thank you ever so much.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. Enjoy the rest of your evening.